unfortunately, we were meant to be joined by our director and our head of film tonight, but unfortunately, they were unable to make the trip. But they will be joining us via Zoom, so we'll get to hear their insight as well on what this film means to them, why they were really driven to create the film, and also what the experience was like filming it. But of course, I'm going to be joined here. I have Sir June here, who of course is our program head of Smile Train Philippines. But at first, I'd like to introduce who is going to join us via Zoom. Please let us cross our fingers for the tech, hoping that everything runs smoothly and we can hear from them. So first, of course, is our director, Elisa Gambino. She is an Emmy Award-winning producer and director who brings her journalist eye to capturing stories that matter. And of course, next is Neil Brofman. And Neil has spent a decade with CNN International, covering wars, elections, famines, and upheaval in more than 50 countries. And also, he has a feature documentary, Welcome to Pine Lake, which is available and streaming on Paramount Plus. So these two are really the main drivers behind this film, but it was not done alone. And it is unfortunate that they're not here to join us to give us our insights in person. But they are joining us via Zoom. But before we log into there is, I believe, a video that will be shown, which is from them. So please direct your eyes to the screen, because it is in our mother tongue. And also, we're witnessing a place that's not so far from where we are right now, which is Antipolo. It's not so far-flung. It's not so unknown to us. But yet stories like this surrounding cleft exist all throughout Metro Manila and also all throughout the provinces. As Sir June will also enlighten us on the country statistics and where we're at when it comes to cleft and how many are affected and what is being done and how we can all get involved also. Is the Zoom call tuloy ba? Our film was so important to make for them. But joining us tonight as well to give us an insight on what it was like to bring this film together is producer Elaine Bobadilla. Let's give her a round of applause. She is a creative entrepreneur who has made a name for herself in a variety of roles, including visual artist, stylist, photographer, sculptor, and film producer. Favorite ni Lord, in other words. No, but very, very talented and very visionary. And her work has been featured in museums and galleries across the Philippines. And she has taken her creativity to the next level with Every Day After, which is her first international film. Thank you so much for joining us, Elaine.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you. Please take a seat. We'll get comfy. So my first set of questions is, of course, for Sir June. So we may have people in our audience today who are just learning about cleft care today, what it means for the patients who are diagnosed with cleft. So could you give us a little bit of an insight to the state of the healthcare system in terms of cleft here in the Philippines?
Thank you, Kat. Well, hundreds of thousands of children in resource-poor communities in the Philippines don't have access really to life-saving treatment. And in general, healthcare in the Philippines is significantly impacted by poverty, lack of medical treatment, and lack of personnel, especially in those rural areas that needs the care from these patients. Although there is PhilHealth that is being provided by the government, it is not really enough to support the cleft surgeries of these patients. And we have also to consider the awareness. Awareness is also very important when we promote this, that there is a foundation who is really working on this and helping these kids with cleft condition.
Yes, as it was mentioned in the film, actually, what is the best time for an individual to be treated for cleft?
Well, medically, the best time for cleft treatment for cleft lip is approximately around 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months
Yes,
old.
and
so
for
baby
palate
back.
is around 9 to a year to be treated with cleft palate condition. Of course, there are conditions that have to be met. It should be physically fit and with desired body kilo weight.
Right, so nutrition plays a big factor,
Yes.
but also early identification, which is why awareness plays a really big role to getting care to those suffering from cleft. So, which is why we really appreciate you all helping us to get the word out there so that new mothers, or especially in the provinces, they know that if their baby is born with cleft, it is a treatable. It's a treatable concern. There is treatment that is available for free through Smile Train as well, that operates around the Philippines, not just in Metro Manila. And if anyone wants any info, smiletrain.org, you can key them in on that. Sir June, would you share like the overall stats here in the Philippines? Give us kind of an idea of what we look like as a state of a nation in terms to cleft.
Well, 1 in every 500 babies are born with cleft, and either cleft lip or palate here in the Philippines. In a year's time, there are approximately around 5,000 cases of cleft every year. And as you can see statistically, globally, there is a baby born in every 3 minutes. Yet, Smile Train has been performing around 5,000 surgeries every year. And incidentally, last year, we celebrated our 75,000 surgeries. And, and yet, despite of these statistics, there's a lot of still patients that need and asking for our care.
Yeah, so there is so much work still to be done.
Yes.
But it really just shows you the magnitude that if we were able to give cleft care to those who need it, because as we saw in the film, it wasn't just Jari who was affected by cleft. It was his whole family. And if you can imagine an echo of that, their community as well. So if you're able to change the life of an individual who has cleft, you're able to also empower their family, give them opportunities to work as well, the individual with cleft, to integrate into society and to realize their full potential, because there is nothing wrong with these children. It is a treatable condition. And of course, that's why I love to be here and to be supporting Smile Train. The work that they do is just incredible. And there is opportunities to help, either in volunteerism, being an ambassador, or holding a fundraiser in your workplace. Ang daming pwede gawin. So for Elaine, of course, we would love to hear from you.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. You got a really up close glimpse to the filming process and everything, and you were one of the first to hear Jessa and Jari's story.
Yes.
And I actually know as well that they were not the first family chosen to be pinpointed for this film, but it just so happened by chance. But what was it about their story that really made you feel like we need to share this?
Before I answer the question, I just want to thank everybody again for being here. It really means a lot to us. Okay, so, sorry, honestly, I'm not used to talking to a lot, in front of a lot of people, because I've always been on the background, so please bear with me. Okay, so for your question, during the early stages in interacting with Jerry and Jessa, what inspired me right away as I heard their story was how much Jessa showed her unconditional love to her brother Jerry. And I mean, the way that she protected and cared for him from, at a very young age, while witnessing her parents neglect him from the day that he was born is just so incredible. The way that she fought to raise, nurture, and still continues to uplift his self-confidence despite many challenges they faced is a great inspiration and example for all of us. So, and sometimes we realize too that it's the people who no one imagines of who do the things that no one can imagine. And that's the kind of unique type of love story that we thought was worth sharing to the rest of the world.
And it is such an anchor in the film. Like the people who are sitting on either side of me, you can hear each other sniffle, because it really is so touching, the love of a sister for her brother. And maybe all it takes to change one's life is to have a Jessa in their life. You know? With this being your first foray into international film, how do you think this film will be able to further serve the cleft community, especially here in the Philippines?
I believe that as we continue to share every day after, this film will definitely help educate the rest of the world on the challenges cleft-affected patients face in their healing journey, and stop damaging stereotypes forced upon the facially different. Cleft lip and palate is one of the most common birth defects worldwide, yet it is often ignored and mischaracterized by the media. And we believe that by sharing our film, this will change the narrative about people with facial differences and help educate and raise awareness about this condition. It'll also help dispel myths and stereotypes and promote understanding and empathy towards those who live with it. So by giving a voice to individuals like Jerry and Jessa, we create more we create a more inclusive and compassionate society.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Like Elaine just mentioned, representation really matters. And this film, it does a beautiful job of portraying such a humanized story, and it's not a fictional story. It is their life, aptly titled "Everyday After," because the treatment for cleft doesn't start and end with an operation. Sometimes there's a series of operations. There's orthodontics, speech therapy. There's also counseling and therapy that goes in to build up the confidence of a child who, as you can imagine, has been met with a lot of indifference, maybe by their community, their friends, and sometimes even their family. So at this point in time, thank you so much, Elaine and Sir June.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your thoughts with us. At this point in time, we'd like to invite anyone who has any questions that you may feel towards our panelists. So there is someone in the audience with a microphone, so kindly just put your hand up and we can field in some of your questions if you're not feeling shy.